that's the nation's capital. Good to have you join us.
Thank you.
27 years of unbroken democracy. It looks like that's the major gains for us as a country, to have one of the longest period of democratic rule without interruption. Has it been worth it so far?
I think it's a journey. You see, we started, we stopped, we started, we stopped. So from 1999 to now, I think we've had about how many different presidents? We've had Obasanjo, Yar'Adua, Goodluck, Buhari, Asiwaju, right? 5. That's 5 non-stop, right? So it's a big accomplishment, you know. And as you know, when you come to nation building, you build a house block by block, block by block. I believe we are far better than we were in 99, and we are going to get better.
I don't know how many people build a house, maybe it depends on how much you have, but building a house for 27 years, that's a long time. This house is taking too long to build. Some people will say, look, for a child who is, because we keep saying that democracy is growing, some people will say, look, a child of 27-year-old is an adult, and no longer a child, and by now we should start seeing gains.
Well, you're right. We need to see younger people taking responsibility in this country, because back then, I mean, our parents are always boasting to us, telling us that at our age they were this, they were that, they were this, they were that. At this point now that we are in this country, a person of 27 years might not even be a graduate yet. That is the truth, you know. And based on that, we have to then move on. On that aspect, we know quite clearly the country is no longer the same. When you are building something, when you're building a foundation, you know, you pick up rocks, you pick up sand, you pick up a lot of things like that, and they have a place to go. Now, when they were making these systems, whether it was in 99 or before, I mean, there were vacancies everywhere. So it was easier for young people to be able to jump in, especially when you are an educated person. But now, let's look at the average. The average youth in this country now is very well educated. He's a graduate. And now, we are getting to a point that even a master's degree is not special anymore. While before, just finishing secondary school makes you something else in your community. So that makes you a leader. So there are no vacancies. That is where the issue is. The lack of vacancy in governance.
I want to go back to 1993, where, but before I get there, you know, because you mentioned the house analogy, and I wanted to go back to that analogy because you have said, you know, it's almost like a house that we're still building. And I'm wondering if you find someone who is 23 years old at the time you met that person, and now the person is 50, 27 years later, still building the same house that he was building when you knew him at 23, and then he's even now being told, in fact, he has not even gone beyond the foundation level, and he's been told that there's a problem with the foundation and that the contractors have been ripping him off and not using the right materials. I mean, what do you say to a person like that?
I'll tell him to dig it out, start again. That's what I'll tell him, start again, because a house built on a faulty foundation cannot stand. And what is the foundation that we have in this country? We are talking about the Constitution. The Constitution is something that was designed, written, and moved by a regime that was not democratic, by military men, you see. So the Constitution itself is the foundation I'm talking about. And the lack of vacancy is simply a result of the issue of the foundation. So anything that you build on that, you have to keep renovating it from time to time. Why? Because the foundation is not good. The foundation is bad. That's the Constitution. So now we are playing a game of, okay, let's repair this, let's repair that. No, we have to get this out of the Constitution. No, we have to add this to the Constitution. No, we have to. When the Constitution was made, it was done by military men. It was done by military men. So it wasn't done by civilians, you know. So that is where the problem is in the foundation. So I would say the same thing to anybody that is building a house. And every day you come, what the block that you put on top, you can't find it again, or it cracked. I would just advise you, take it down, start up again from the foundation. That would have been my advice.
And in this case, you think that it's our constitution that is a fundamental problem of our democracy, even though there are people, I mean, a lot of people say we need to work on our constitution, but even the one we have now, how many people really, or how many government officials really respect and follow the tenets of the constitution?
It's not only the government officials. It's just the society in general. People don't like to study. People don't like to research. People are easily distracted by different activities around them without really trying to understand who they really are. You know, look at it this way. Any day you come to my house and my security man stops you every single day, even though he knows you, he stops you every day, every day. The day that you find out that you have the right to be in my house because you are my brother or something, and I come out and I tell you, look, why are they stopping you? You are supposed to be in here. You have the right to be here. From that day, will you be afraid of that security man again? So at the end of the day, it comes down to Nigerians taking time to understand what their rights are. That is the key thing there. And we're talking about public officials. For God's sake, we have public officials that cannot speak good English. We have public officials that cannot even write well. You are expecting them to be the ones to be able to understand and digest the constitution of a country like Nigeria? No, it can't work, you see. And that is why we keep saying to people that people like that are in government, they rely 100% on the youths that are around them. And they take the glory for those things. Go to the National Assembly. Go to any office you want to go to. You will see the SAs, TAs, they are the ones that do every single thing. The person that is there seated just signs it. We are in a country where a DG can just say, you have a proposal, but he will not allow you to sit down and start presenting your proposal to him until when he calls one of his directors and his PAs to come and stay there. Because they are the ones that will come back to tell him what you just finished talking about. So you won't even get the opportunity to really engage that well because they don't even know what you're talking about. They are only giving you the time.
So we'll come back to the question. We'll come back to the question of education and good leadership, the correlation between both in just a moment. But I also wanted to talk to you about I had raised it earlier that in 1993 the tagline at the time was hope 1993, and then now we have renewed hope. But even before renewed hope, let's start from 1993. Do you think that hope that was we fought, that this fight was about 1993, fighting for democracy started in 1993, and the idea was hope? Nigerians are feeling more hopeless today since 1999 to date than they were, even before democracy. And so I'm wondering, why have we not been able to engender hope in the average Nigerian, even in a democracy?
There's a major difference between what it used to be and what it is now. In 1993, we had two parties, just two parties, a little to the left, a little to the right, according to IBB, and I have studied these things, and Ibrahim Babangida himself in his book, he said he apologized to Nigerians about it, So you have to understand that times are not the same. In 93, Nigerians had been under bondage. So at that point, you know what they say? In a village of blind men, the person with one eye is a king. So at that point, because they had been under military regime for so long, they were willing to accept less than what we might be willing to accept today. Because they understand what it feels like not to have freedom. We are taking it for granted. Young people in this country are taking freedom for granted. They don't know there was a time that a person can stand and can legalize your debt just because he feels like doing so. I cannot speak on experience when you talk about 1993, especially when you're talking about June 12th, because, June 12th, how old was I? I think I was like 9 days old. As of that time, I was 9 days old as of that time, and we are still seeing the same political players today in this same politics that I have now grown up and I've joined them in it.
So I understand when you mentioned that Nigerians are taking freedom for granted, but isn't it easy to take it for granted if that's all you are getting? Because democracy is more than freedom of speech or freedom of association. There's a rule of law which a lot of Nigerians will tell you it's not being followed through. This country today, you and I know that the same law that applies to the wealthy and the high ranking doesn't apply to the poor. And then people will also tell you the idea of free and fair elections seems to have been a myth over the years. Citizen participation is also looking like a myth to a lot of people. Press freedom, maybe it's getting better or not. That's a lot to discuss. We have a lot to discuss on that. So the tenets of democracy itself, human rights, observance and all of that, doesn't seem like it looks like it's out of the reach of Nigerians, and it's just freedom at least that they have, and so they hold on to what they have.
That was then, not now. Now we're asking for better. We're asking for better than that. Now we're educating ourselves and we understand our rights. That's the difference. You see, you cannot test the limit of the law if you don't push for your rights. Just because the Constitution says you can do something, don't think that you will do that thing easily. You might still at the end of the day be arrested for doing that. And then you would have to now prove and fight for that right, for other people to be able to benefit and also know they have the right to do the same thing. And that is life in general. And you're talking about the wealthy and the lower. That is not a Nigerian issue. It is a world issue. And that is a fact. That is a fact. Because when you look at it, we have seen people that were nothing, that were on the streets with nothing, nobody respected them. They become rich today. And you are seeing everybody is following them. And nobody is even asking whether they are educated or nothing. It doesn't matter. So it's not about a Nigerian factor. It's a life factor that it's not fair, yes. I will concede to that. But it's not a Nigerian factor. Anywhere. I mean, even when you are traveling to the United States, if you fly in there in a private jet, it's different from you when you come in a commercial. It's when you see it live that you understand what I'm talking about. So it's not just about a Nigerian thing. It's a life thing.
I don't know if Nigerians will agree with you, but I will take a break now and then we'll explore that further in just a moment. Stay with us, everyone. All right, thanks for staying with us, everyone. You're watching Standpoint. We've been joined by Director General, Presidential Support Organization, CMR JIJIWA. He joins us from Abuja studio. Thank you so much for staying with us.
Thank you.
So I was saying that you were talking about how the issues around the rule of law, it's a global issue and not just a Nigerian issue. But look, in some countries, it's better than others. Ours is very, very in your face. In fact, people don't even hide it. In some countries, you find that they try to at least give you a semblance of rule of law to ensure that both the rich and the poor are held accountable. Countries like the UK, it's very obvious. You do something wrong, you go to jail. Irrespective of who you are, the law will try you. We're seeing that now, even as we follow the Epstein case. In some countries, those rules are being followed. But here is right from, whatever police station or whatever, whoever is settling that matter, it's right from there that sometimes you find out that your case is not going to, even when you're in the right, it's not going to go beyond that level. It's already been killed and nothing more.
You're right. We have to work on our institutions, especially when it comes to do with consequences of certain things. You break the law, you go to jail. That is the standard of life. That's how it's supposed to be, if it's fair. If it's fair, but it's not. And that's a fact. I want us to be realistic enough to understand that we have different classes of people. Even not just a Nigerian thing, as I said to you before, because let me tell you this. When you're flying out of this country, any airport you go to, whether you're on transit or whatever it is, if you're in the economy class, you just have to find a place to sit down and wait for your time, or go to your boarding gate and you wait. If you're in the business class or the first class lounge, you can even have a pot to sleep in. You have a buffet to go and eat. That is the difference. So it's not a Nigerian thing. And we have to also understand that life isn't the same for everybody. We wish it could be, but it's not. And some people have taken advantage of that.
Mr. JIJIWA, isn't the law supposed to be isn't the law supposed to be the equalizer?
In the right society, it's supposed to be the best, but it's not. Look at this. Let me give you an example. Democracy, the idea of democracy itself, if you go back to what it's supposed to be, it solves almost every problem that we have. It simply says, "Oya, go. In 4 years, come back and show me what you did. If you have done enough for me, I'll give you a pass mark, go back there. If it's not enough, go back home." Simple. That's why democracy was made. If we want to go back to the original idea of democracy, is where the people are the final say, have the final say. It's where the people control their leaders, not the other way around. But then we are human beings, and the human factor, not just in Nigeria, allows people to take advantage of small opportunities. Take advantage of the fact that the man that came to you, the policeman that stopped you, you did something wrong, but that policeman that is supposed to stop you, he's afraid to come to you. Why? Because maybe what you have in your pocket is higher than what he has for the rest of his life. So he's shaking, he's scared. It's a mental thing. And we need to start unwinding our heads, honestly, as a nation.
I'm sorry to butt in, but I wanted to ask you, you raised a question, you raised or you made a statement that was really, for me, I find quite interesting, where is the people who decide for the leaders and not the leaders for the people. And I'm wondering, how do we get there? When you look at the primaries held across all political parties, I mean, they are all problematic. With people saying, look, there is a position of candidates. That already shows you the build-up to the election and what the election might look like. Even within the parties, you're already finding challenges. That people are saying, look, we voted one way for a candidate, and then we are hearing there's another candidate that is being picked by the party. I mean, that's in itself. I mean, we're not even talking about the general election. We're just talking about within the political parties themselves. And so how do we get to that place where people are deciding and not leaders deciding?
You see, it might look complicated, but it is a very, very simple thing. Very simple solution if we want to do it. First of all, Nigerians need to come out to vote. We need to pick interests. If 90 million people vote, how many can you rig? Are you going to rig out 90 million? 90 million votes. And now we have about 100 and something million registered voters. How do you want to even start doing that? There's a structure. Nigerians should pick interest in the governance of their nation. Nigerians should learn to ask questions. Nigerians should come out and vote. This voter apathy that we are having is the root cause of why you are having the same people doing the same thing. Because we have given it, Nigerians have given them the easy way out. Look, even if, I'm not saying it should be, but let me just say this to you. Even if some people are going to impose themselves on us, at least when they are thinking of imposing themselves on us, their heart should be beating out of fear on the fact that maybe it might not be accepted. Can we just go back to that? If we can go back to democracy, the way it's supposed to be is come out, show us who you are. If it's good, we go. If not, you go. That is it. But we can't go back there. It's already too late. But if our people will pick interest in political activities, we don't have only one political party in Nigeria. The number of people that don't come out to vote are
Mr.
higher than the number of people that
I
come out
have
to
1
vote.
minute left, and I wanted to ask you: is it electoral fraud that led to, or is it voter apathy that led to electoral fraud, or electoral fraud led to voter apathy?
It is voter apathy that has caused every other fraud that you have seen. That is the truth. It is voter apathy that is the root cause of any issue you see. If youths don't take advantage of elections and they don't educate themselves enough to pick interest and understand how it's supposed to be, we are going to continue moving. You see, like as well as logo like this, I be infinity. That's how it's going to continue going. If we do not pick interest in what we are doing, we need to pick interest and start to make things happen politically.
Right, thank you. It's a continuous conversation. It's not one that is hard we should have every June 12th. It's one that we should have, continuously, so that we can live in a democracy that actually works. Thank you so much for your time, Director General, Presidential Support Organization, CMR JIJIWA.
Thank you.
Right, thank you so much, everyone. That's that one this week. Remember, you can watch the repeat broadcast at 11 p.m. tonight and 5 a.m. on Sunday. Thanks for watching.